And what are you doing now in terms of trying to make preparations for the next UNCF? You know, I think that you've already laid out your the people that are going to be involved in it, and et cetera. Perhaps you might want to say something about what will be coming up next year in terms of that kind of event.
That is correct. And what we do when we finish one, we start off on the other. We're already laying the groundwork for the programs that we're going to have. The chairperson is now working. The young lady that works with Shonas is in charge of it. And I might say here, this will be the first year we've had a woman,
Miss Betty Marshall.
Betty Marshall, to be the chair of the UNCF campaign. What I'm trying to point up is how we are moving, recognizing leadership all over the city. Now, we think that Betty Marshall is going to do an outstanding job for us. She's already getting the mailing list of the people she wants to take. So we're planning that program now. And let me say here, some persons may not realize this, but the planning of the UNCF telethon is a 12-month affair. The planning for any fundraising activities going on at Fisk University is a 12-month affair. As soon as we finish one, we start another. Now, some people say, well, goodness, they just came and asked for some money last week. That is correct. And we'll be around next week asking for some more, because that's the planning. What we're doing this week is different from what we did last week. For example, we have an art collection. We now have that exhibit going around the state, and on coming very soon, we'll have an exhibit down at the State Museum. We feel very good about all these things. In other words, Fisk University is really becoming a partner in this community to improve, first, North Nashville. That's number one. And number two, to improve the whole city and the state and the nation.
You know, looking at your art collection, and I think quite recently, Ms. Pearl Creswell, who played a very, very important part in that whole collection, passed, and we were all saddened by that. But let's talk about that collection, because I think that that is one of the most prestigious collections in this area, indeed, if not one of the most prestigious collections in America. Let's talk about that.
Well, Dr. Haney, there may be 5 collections in the country more valuable than this one. There may be 5. We certainly are the most valuable one in the Southeast, so we know that. But let me just take this opportunity to say that you mentioned that Ms. Pearl Creswell, recently deceased, we had a funeral a short time ago. And let me say here so that everyone will know, what Mrs. Creswell meant to Fisk University is almost impossible to state in words. You might even say she's the essence of the Fisk woman. She's the essence of a Fisk graduate. She worked at the university for 41 years. She dedicated herself to making the university go. And I just can't say enough good about what she did and how she helped me get the art on the road. And what we've done in art, Mrs. Creswell started all of that, and we're just happy to keep improving on that. And I think I owe that to the public so that they would know that. Now, the art collection, we call it the Stiglitz Collection. 101 pieces in that collection. Some of the masters of all time are involved in this Cezanne, Toulouse-Lautrec, Riviera, Severini, Duluth, Marin, Dove, all of them, Picasso, all of these people are involved in the collection. And it was given to us by Georgia O'Keeffe, and Georgia O'Keeffe gave it to us because she said that persons ought to be able to view art in their local environment, that everyone should not have to go to New York, Chicago, LA to see art. So she put one at Fisk University so that the neighbors could come in and see it. That's why we opened the gallery for everyone. And let me say that the gallery is free to anyone coming in. You can come in and see the gallery during the hours it's open. And all we ask is if you like what you've done, just make a contribution, volunteer contribution. It's up to you. But we want the community to see the art that we have. And another thing, we have read, and I can't document where it is, but one of these days I'll find it, that youngsters who are exposed to art at early ages do better in their careers than those who are not. We want the youngsters in North Nashville to become exposed to the best art collection around so that will make them better persons when they move on to adulthood.
And of course, not only do you have an excellent art collection, but I think that you, in terms of just a research collection dealing with the black experience, why don't you say something about the people who have worked at Fisk University and who have been associated with that institution and the role that they played not only at Fisk, but in American history in general?
Well, Dr. Haney, we're fortunate enough that some of those persons left us memorabilia that we can now use for basic research that we carry on all the time. And we have research scholars coming from around the world to come to Fisk University and do research. We've had a Japanese scholar coming in to get some information because he discovered in doing the research that there was a line that would run to Fisk University. And that's what researching does. You find something here and it tells you to go here. And Fisk University usually ends up, if you're doing research of almost of any kind on the heritage and history of African Americans in general or specific African Americans, chances are they came through Fisk one way or another. Now, some of the real dynamic people that came through, obviously, W.B. Du Bois is one, and we have a collection of W.B. Du Bois that is very proud. So anything that Du Bois does, and we now have a 2-volume history of Du Bois coming out, autobiography, we're proud of that because a lot of that was done through the archives of Fisk University. But that's one. George Edmund Haynes, who was the founder of the National Urban League, also came through Fisk University. If you want to do research on George Edmund Haynes and the Urban League, you have to come through here. Mr. Dean Red, as we call, also was here, and he was a great national officer with the Boulay, and now the records of the Boulay are at Fisk University. So if you want to do something on that organization, you'll have to come by here. If you want to do some research on George Gershwin, just to let persons know how diversified we are here, you can come to Fisk University because we have a number of his first compositions, and we have a lot of memorabilia